Got it up. I got it up. All right. Yeah, I got it up. I'm so excited. Okay. I got my notes up. Because we need our notes. I don't care if you turn it off. That's fine. All right. Oof. And anyway, um, real men don't cry is the topic for today. Releasing the belief that emotions is a weakness. Um, and that's really what I want to dive into. Black Cherokee One Tribe is a space where we hold aromatherapy. We are an aromatherapy company, and we specialize in providing aromatherapy needs through essential oils and our products. So before we get started fully, took me about 20 minutes, but before we get started fully, I would like to offer a remedy as far as essential oils to help you stay grounded in your own space. Okay, cool. Um, the suggested the suggested essential oils that I would suggest. The suggested essential oils are frankincense and sandalwood for grounding. Um, and this was also a great moment to utilize that in order for you to stay calm, especially during the situations that we're having here in the United States of America. And that's way off subject. Unlearning the emotional silence that is passed down through generations is the topic that we're going to focus on. It's very challenging for some people to deal with their emotions, especially me as a woman. I was raised in a two-parent household where I had my mother and my father together in the household for most of my life, and as a child, most of my life. And I can say that as a woman, it should be something that is normal for a woman to cry, but it's not for this woman. I view it as a form of weakness. And I know that those ideas come from the fact that I was raised in a two-parent household with a father that was in the military and my mom who couldn't really articulate how she truly felt. It took her a little while to express her true feelings. And the reason why this happened, my dad being in the military, is because he was in the military. But when it comes down to my mother, women were taught based on my grandmother, getting connected with my grandmother, getting connected with my mother, women were taught not to express their feelings at the time because you don't want to make the man upset. And by making the man upset, it puts you in a position where he can do anything to you. He can find another person, find another woman or another wife. And at that time, a woman needed a man for every single thing. She couldn't hold a job. She couldn't keep a job without her husband's permission in some households. Um, she couldn't live her life without a man being around. And so, because of that, on that side, when it comes down to me as a woman and harnessing and expressing my feelings and understanding that if when I cry, it makes me feel like I'm weak, it's because I had to stand on these women's ideas and their concept of emotions. And that was later backed up by my father, who's part of the military. And as I was stating earlier in the pre recording, I am in the position where I am staying with my father. And this is the very first time that I've stayed with my father in 16 years, roughly. Um, and it's been very interesting because I now have a son who's 4 years old and he's learning about his feelings. And because I was a former teacher, I understood how important it was for a child to express their feelings and to have a space where they can talk about what's going on with them. Because what ends up happening if a child doesn't have that space to express themselves, then they end up imploding. And as a woman here in the United States of America, I'll start from here. The common phrases: stop crying before I give you something to cry about. Now, I can tell you, my mama, she said those things to me all the time, all the time.
And a lot of times when she would say those things to me, it was like, Mom, I want to express myself, but I can't, right? I want to share what I'm feeling, but I can't express them fully. And when my father would say it, I was always afraid because my dad would always have that booming voice. Don't cry, don't cry. Stop crying before I get you something to talk about. And it's like when a man speaks, it does something to your soul. It scares the ever daylights out of you. And when that happens, it makes you question authority because a man with his voice, it's a booming voice, and it makes you. It should be comforting, but it's not. It's scary. It's scary. And so you end up being in a position where you're afraid to even express yourself. When you are told to man up or woman up, when you are told to man up or woman up, it puts you in a position, especially as a child. Like, how are you supposed to be a woman and how are you supposed to be a man? Because you don't know what that looks like for you. You're still learning how to be a human being on this earth. And then when you're told to be the man of the house, as I was saying, I think it's not the best thing because at the end of the day, what happens is the little boy that is told to man up to be the man of the house has no idea he's carrying on unnecessary weight and pressures that he is not ready for. This is too heavy for his shoulders. He doesn't know what to do with that. It's a very, very deep emotion that he is internalizing, that he has to carry something that he's not prepared for. And again, all of these things have come and stem from the origins that can be traced through war, religions, slavery, and patriarchy. Um, Generational tie-ins. Now, how this all ties in to generational journey, your generational trauma healing. This is linked to emotional suppression, as I was stating before, and in the Black and Indigenous communities. And this emotional suppression ends up stemming to a space where you might find yourself looking for a substance. That substance can be Mary J. That substance can be 420. That substance could be drinking. It could be all the things that um, money, sex, and drugs. Those are the things that can be a backlash from not being able to express your emotions. There is a book that I've been reading in order for me to be a better mother. How to build strong little boys, or how to build strong, emotionally strong men. And what I realize is for the boys who find themselves in video games all the time, the reason why they are in that space is because they don't know how to express their feelings. They need an outlet. And the best outlet they have is one, is avoidance. And then two, and through this avoidance, they are finding themselves watching video games and playing video games because they are imploding with time. They don't feel like their emotions are heard. They don't feel like they're being heard. And this is something that we can honestly translate in our relationships that we may have. When you are in a relationship with a man who seems to be emotionally distant, or it's hard for you to talk to him in order for him to express his feelings, and he's extra guarded. And a lot of times, what ends up happening is this is a reflection of how he was raised, that he didn't have a place where his emotions could be free. And I can remember when I was a little girl, when a boy would point to something, when my brother would point to something, and my mother would say, "Go get that for him." My mother never really required him to state what it is that he wanted. He just grunted or he pointed. But for me, I had to express my feelings. I had to express what I wanted. And I can see like the difference in my personal experience that this is what my father went through too. My dad has a hard time expressing himself. And I tell him this, um, especially what it is that he wants and desires. The goal of me to share this information with you guys or with you is to share that you do have a voice, even as a man, to say what it is that you want and don't want. And you can expect someone to actually listen and believe you the first time you speak. And you don't have to be, mean and harsh about it. But once some men gets to the point where he feels like he has to be mean and harsh about it, that means that he has been expressing himself a long time and he feels like he's not being heard. And again, this comes from generational beliefs and generational traumas that have been passed down. Uh, the beliefs of the beliefs are an example of the beliefs are showing emotions may put your family in danger. Now, this is a war way of thinking, or this is also a survival technique that people use in order for men to show their strength, that they can't be messed with. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you can still cry while you're fighting. It's still possible. Um, Another belief that some men may carry is, if I cry, I'll be seen as weak and unstable. And as we get older, I can honestly say, as a 45-year-old woman, close to 45, that when a man cries, it means something. And it doesn't mean that they're weak in any way, shape, or form. It means that something is bothering them to the point where they have to be in touch with their emotions. Men are emotional too. Men are human too. And what a lot of people are not allowing some men to be is human. We're all human. The mental health impact. Now, this is how Father's Day and mental health plays a big role in your life and what you do. The suppressions, as I stated before, if a man doesn't have the idea that he can express his feelings, the suppressions that come from that are depression, high functioning anxiety, anger disorders, because you don't know how to express yourself and you don't have that outlet, and hypertension. Yeah, I'm gonna sit on that for a second. On that, real quick. I'm gonna sit on that. The reason why you're probably dealing with hypertension is because there's a lot of suppressed emotions that you have not gotten out. And if you want to know how to get those out, just let me know. Put it in the comments. Now, at this moment, what I would do is a belief work idea. And my suggestion is to check out the webinar link in our bio, and you can come back and check out these statements that I'm going to state. It comes along with your free gift. I want you to say, it is safe. It is safe. So come back, save this video, and then come back with your Jedi Mind Trick free gift. And I want you to do the test. Okay. What it says is, it is safe for me to cry and still be respected. The second one is, I can feel deeply and still lead my family. And the last one is, releasing tears is a form of strength. I want you to do the Jedi Mind Trick. When you come back, watch the webinar, all of it. And then come back and put in the comments whether or not it was true for you or not. Okay? And then consider booking your one-on-one session. We need to clear that out. Fatherhood. Fatherhood redefined. Being a father is a very, very heavy responsibility. Being a parent in general is a very huge responsibility that we have to carry as adults. I did not become a parent until I was 40 years old, which is very interesting. Y'all can see my really old videos. But giving up my life for a child, giving my life up completely for a person that I can't get rid of. They stuck with me. Wherever I go, he goes, my buddy, right? If you're a millennial, Gen X, uh, he's there, right? And parenting can be very challenging. One, because you're dealing with a lot of the things that are happening in your life. You're dealing with work. You're dealing with uh, caregiving if you're in that space. You're dealing with love. You're dealing with relationships, and you're balancing and trying to juggle every single piece of life that you can, and you still have to take care of this little person. You still have to nurture this little person, and you still have to play with this little person, right? My challenge to you, and when it comes down to your parenting style, if this is something that is helpful for you, uh, I want you to consider these three things. I want you to consider that your emotions are your medicine. I know, like I sound like a little parent, but your emotions are your medicine. They help to heal you in ways that you don't know. Each tear that you cry expresses a different form of emotion. No tear is ever the same. So when you cry, you are releasing those emotions and you are expressing yourself. And even when you're upset or when you're angry, it's okay to take a breath and to talk and share exactly what it is that you need to share. Like your feelings. You have to get in contact with your feelings. And that's okay. And I'm not trying to say this in a point of belittling you. Connecting to your feelings is a beautiful thing, um, because it puts you in a position where you can set your own self free from the things that might be holding you back. Because if we can get you free, then your entire lineage will be free too. The other affirmation that I want you to say is, I teach my children by feeling fully. And by you being able to express yourself, it opens up the door for your children to be able to express themselves. And they can talk to you as they get older. They'll feel free to have the conversations, the hard conversations with you as they get older, because now you're their safe space. And that's how it should be. As a parent, we're supposed to be you're supposed to be your child's safe space. And if they don't feel safe with you, then they'll try to find safety elsewhere. And we don't want that. We don't want that. The next affirmation is, I honor my father and still choose a new path. Just like for me, when it comes down to my dad, I love my father. That's my daddy. That's my daddy. I'm my daddy's little girl the whole night. But I honor my dad, and I can still respect where he came from. I respect how he was raised. I respect his life. I respect his livelihood. I respect all of that. But I also understand that because I know better, I can do better. And by me doing better, I am setting a better course for his lineage, his bloodline, his grandson. So my hope is that you consider doing the same for your family, because you are important and your decisions will last a lifetime. You get an opportunity to change worlds completely. And if you journal, men, if you journal, my suggestion, as far as a prompting reflection, would be, when was the first time I was told not to cry? Now, this is to help you connect with your emotional side. Um, so, if you are looking for a healing space or a place to connect in order for you to release, because this is required for you to be the best version of yourself, and get a journal and write down, when was the best time you were told to cry? Or when was the first time that you were told not to cry? I tell my son not to cry. But I tell my son not to cry because he can use his words, right? And I understand, for me, that I'm guiding my son in ways that he can start to communicate, not to tell him not to cry and not address the issue. There's a difference. Sometimes people have been told, and I know I was told, not to cry, don't cry without being able to express what I'm feeling and what I want. So I want you guys to think about the time that you were told not to cry the first time and write it down. And then the next one I want you to consider is what might shift my household if I allowed myself to feel fully. Allowing yourself to feel fully, as I stated before, opens you up to the idea and the hope that you can merge and create better relationships with not just your family, as far as just your children, but if you have a wife or a significant other or someone that you hold dear, even your mother and your parents, by allowing yourself to fully feel and to express yourself, you're opening up the opportunity for people to become closer to you. The one thing that really gets to me is I talked to a few people that were in hospice, and our grief specialist, our end of life doula, and she was telling me that a lot of people were dealing with um, on the day of their passing is not having those connections with their family members. That's hard. Not being able to feel vulnerable or to be around them is usually the number one thing that people really, really desire on their deathbed. And it's my hope that you don't get to that point at all. And when you're done, and when you're done writing these journal prompts, please put them in the comments how they made you feel, and how and what changes have you noticed. And then lastly, we're gonna end this class. This is only 30 minutes long. Um, I want you to consider all of the things that we talked about when it comes down to your generational space and your generational healing. I want you to consider how your father affected you. And this is for both men and women. How your father affected you in your ability to cry or to release your emotions. And then I want you to consider what it is that you would like to change in your life in order for you to have better relationships. That's the overall goal, is for you to have a better relationship, not just with your family and your children, but also with yourself. Because by making yourself better, everything behind you is going to fall in right into place. Um, and then if you found this information to be very interesting and helpful, I truly hope that you consider booking a one-on-one session with me. You can check the link in our bio, the links that's down here. You can go to book session and it will take you to our client reviews where I've helped men, women, and people in general alike. And each person has had their own personal way of transformation where their lives are not the same. During your one on one session, I help people with their family beliefs, and I help them release themselves from generational traumas. I also help work on fatherhood and love and worth, because a lot of times when it comes down to the feelings of not being able to express yourself, there are some worth issues that are lingering in the subconscious part of your brain. And then I also help with our community, uh, where we have a wonderful community that you can talk to and express yourself. It's all private, and you just leave your footprint for the next person that comes behind you. And if you decide on engaging, throughout the time and sharing your thoughts with that next person that comes behind you, you have all capabilities to do so. When it comes down to your one-on-one session with me, it's usually a one and done. You have your 90 days, and I help walk you through the process of your 90-day transformation. And then after that, you can join our community, our full-fledged community, where we have a group of practitioners that are here to help you mind, body, and soul. And then we also have another set of practitioners that are helpful with your soul in general, be it a soul regression, so you can get down even deeper. Um, and you have a dream interpreter, and he's amazing. And then you also have our end of life grief counselor. So we have options here. I hope you guys found this information to be very helpful, and I hope that this information was enlightening to help you be the best version of yourself. And I hope that I get to see you in a one-on-one session.